Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the best sensitivity and settings to use in Fortnite. And since the last settings video, I did change my settings up a little bit. I changed probably 3 or 4 things. So I'm going to go over exactly why I changed those settings specifically and give you guys some really good suggestions when it comes to picking your sensitivity and settings that works best for you. And before we get into the video, I'm going to be launching up another V-Buck giveaway. If you guys want to win a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you have to do is to drop a like on this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on my notifications, and leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And for those of you guys who haven't already, make sure you guys add me on Snapchat. It is Young Humor YT. I have a lot of cool stuff going on over there. So if you guys haven't already added me on Snapchat, make sure you guys do so. And alright guys, let's go right to the video. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be going over my sensitivity and settings that I use currently. I changed them up, I'd say not too long ago. But since I changed them up, I definitely noticed an improve in my gameplay. I like them a lot better. I think it's really going to help out in the long term. And I'm going to give you guys some suggestions when it comes to picking your sensitivity, because everyone has a little bit different sensitivity, but I would say around the same thing is kind of what you want to run. And I really think that works best when it comes to picking your sensitivity. As always, for me, when I first started picking my sensitivity, I looked at players that I liked and different players that I liked their playstyle of. So when I went to their settings, I looked at their settings and I kind of made something similar. I wouldn't say picking their exact settings would be the best option, because everyone plays a little bit different, but very similar sensitivities and settings is definitely the way to go. So in just a second, I'm going to put up my sensitivity and settings, but I changed up my sensitivity a little bit. I was previously on a 7.7 sensitivity. That's what I was using. I've used it for the longest time, but I decided to change it up a little bit. I'm not sure exactly why I changed it up. I feel like my accuracy was kind of a little bit, kind of shaky a little bit, but it really wasn't that bad. But I did decide to change it up a little bit just to see how I liked it, and I definitely liked it a little bit better than the previous 7.7 sensitivity that I was on. So here are the current settings and sensitivity that I am now using in Fortnite. So for my X sensitivity, I am on 8.65, and like I said, I was previously playing on a 7.7 sensitivity, 7X and 7Y. So I decided to move it down just slightly. I feel like that would help out a little bit better with me, make it even better. So I moved it down to a 0.65 and a 0.65 for X and Y. And next we have controller targeting sensitivity. This is your sensitivity when you aim down your sights, and it is a 0.5. I used to previously play on I think it was a 0.3. So I moved it up quite a bit from a 0.3 to a 0.5, and I'll get into exactly why in just a minute. After that, controller scope sensitivity 0.51. That is previously what I was playing on. I didn't really change it up a little bit. That's just your sniper sensitivity. So whatever feels comfortable, I guess just rock with that. And then lastly, we have controller building sensitivity, and that is on a 1.51. And there's a little bit different variations that you can use with building sensitivity. Some people play on a higher one. I wouldn't recommend a 2.0. I think that is way too high. You shouldn't be playing on that high of a building sensitivity for a few reasons. And I say anywhere in between, I would say like a 1.2 and a 1.7 is a pretty good suggestion when it comes to controller building sensitivity. So I raised my controller target sensitivity from a 0.3 to a 0.5. The reason I decided to move it up, Upshaw made a really good video on it, and basically the whole idea of the video is basically you want to have your settings kind of close to each other, because when it comes to changing your sensitivity, if you're going from a high, like a high normal sensitivity, like a high X and Y, and you have a low targeting sensitivity, a low ADS sensitivity, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, because when you're going from that high of a sensitivity to that low of a sensitivity, it's really going to mess you up from time to time. So that's where I decided to put my controller targeting sensitivity, and I did notice it in my actual gameplay. I thought it was really reasonable. When I was in those close range gunfights, I wanted to go for the un-ADS, ADS, that cheese when it comes to aim assist. I was trying to use it, but I kept missing all my shots. I thought my accuracy was just completely trash. But then I kind of realized it could really mainly do because I actually lowered my ADS sensitivity a little bit before I even moved it up. So I was on a 0.25, and then I had a 7X and Y. So I feel like that was probably the reason why I kept missing all those shots. And then now that I look back at it, it was definitely the reason why I was missing so many shots. So I would definitely agree with him there when it comes to having your X and Y sensitivity kind of similar to your scope sensitivity. Not your scope, but your ADS sensitivity. So you don't have to be like somewhere like really close, but I would say somewhere in the ballpark within like 0.25. I would say definitely go in the, in that range. So honestly, I would say for ADS sensitivity, I would say like 0.45 and a 0.6 is kind of where you want to be for that. And then the sniper sensitivity, I mean, that's whatever you would like. It's not really that big of a deal what you run, because I don't even use snipers personally. I don't use snipers at all. I'd rather have an RPG in my inventory. So I don't even really mess with snipers. For those of you guys who do, I would have no idea what you guys should run for that sensitivity. But the building sensitivity, I have a pretty good suggestion about it. I personally run, I think it's like a 1.51, pretty much a 1.5. And that's what I kind of liked. I've been using it for a little bit, but I would personally recommend running anywhere from a 1.2 to a 1.7 building sensitivity, because of course you want to have a higher building sensitivity than your actual sensitivity. Otherwise, you pretty much just want to raise your actual sensitivity. So you want to have a little bit higher, but you don't want to go too up there. I don't think I've seen anybody run like a 2 building sensitivities. I think that's way too high. It's kind of ridiculous because you really don't need to have that high of a sensitivity anyway to build quickly in this game. And a 1.5 does it for me. So some people rocked like a 1.7, 1.6, but honestly, I think I could do just as much building or as quick as building right now as I could with, like, I would say a 1.3 or like a 1.35. That would also be another good sensitivity that I'd probably run personally in a little bit. I don't know if I really want to try it out because I like the sensitivity that I have now. But when it comes to building sensitivity, the reason why you wouldn't want to have like a 2 building sensitivity is it can be a little bit difficult to control, and it can mess you up a little bit, because if you're building, really quickly, your screen's jerking around a lot, and then you try to go for a shot, I feel like it's really going to mess up your shot, because if you have a really high building sensitivity and then your actual sensitivity is like a 5 or something like that, I feel like it's really going to mess you up when you're going from building sensitivity to actual aiming. I feel like it just messes you up a little bit, so I wouldn't go too crazy with your building sensitivity. Keep it on the low. I would, if you guys don't know what you would run, I would definitely try like a 1.3 or a 1.25 with your sensitivity. Next, I want to show you guys my keybinds and kind of the things that I run for that. For me personally, I just want to say I do run an elite controller, and I like an elite controller better than Scuff, but for those of you guys who are on PS4, you don't have that luxury. So here are the controller binds that I use. I'm going to show you guys my combat controls, my building controls, editing controls. And for me, I really can't help you. For most of you guys, I can't help most of you guys out, because when it comes to this, I run, like I said, an elite controller, and a lot of you guys have a normal controller. So I haven't really tested out too much of like the other things that you could run, but I've seen a lot of people do things like they have controller auto run like automatically on, and then they would do other things with the left stick, maybe like place traps with it, maybe build, whatever people do. There's a lot of weird stuff out there that which you can do. But for me personally, what I do is I have the right on the D-pad is edit. But for those of you guys who don't have an elite controller, that'd be a terrible idea. That'd be really horrible to try to edit on. For me, for the elite controller, that is my upper right paddle. That would be my edit button. And that's pretty much it for combat controls. I guess, everything's normal except for the edit button right there. And here for my build controls, the only difference that I have is the right stick down, my R3 button. That's where I place traps and I switch in between traps and stuff like that. And of course, my change materials is on the left of the D-pad. And for those of you guys who have a normal controller, I don't really know what else you would have for change materials. I guess you would kind of have to use left in the D-pad, which kind of sucks, to be honest. But it's really not too bad. You're not have to like jump with that button or anything. So it's definitely not a button that you'd press a ton. And my recommendation when it comes to changing any of these controls is whatever you press the most in game, whether that's edit button, jump button, you always want to have that as the easiest to press. So anything that you press a lot in games, maybe like jump button, switch builds, anything like that, you want to have that as the easiest to control. And maybe something that you don't press as much, like change materials, stuff like that, maybe have it something harder like the left D-pad. And here are my edit controls. Everything's pretty much the same except for confirm. I've confirmed as the left D-pad, but like I said, I am on a elite controller, so my upper right paddle is the edit button, my upper left paddle is the confirm button. So for those of you guys who run an elite controller or a Scuff or anything like that, that's what I use for my edit and confirm button. But for those of you guys who don't have the luxury of having an elite controller or a Scuff controller, for those of you guys who have a normal controller, I would probably recommend having your edit and confirm button on the same button. I really wouldn't recommend changing it, just because I feel like it'd be very difficult to have 2 separate buttons without having extra paddles or whatever. So for those of you guys who don't have one, I would say have the same edit confirm button. And that's pretty much all of my settings for the most part. And for those of you guys who want to know my colorblind settings, they're just default settings, just the normal ones. But I might do a separate video on how my colors are so bright. Some of you guys ask, well, why my gameplay looks so good, why my colors are so bright, why my guns pop, everything like that. I might do a separate video on that. But like I said, my colorblind settings are on default. But anyways guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope this video helped you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to drop a like on this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on my notifications so you're notified for every single new video. And alright guys, I will see you in the next video.